Alright guys, so I'm going to attempt to go through this PowerPoint to where you guys can understand what some of the terminology means and where it goes. Because the last quiz that you all took, you didn't understand a lot of it. Alright, so yes, I am recording this, and with that being said, if I go too fast, the whole point is that you can go back and rewind it and listen to it again. You don't have to sit and listen to it continuously. You can pause or you can go back and listen to it on your own. It's on YouTube, it's accessible. So the whole I go too fast, slow down, I'm not there, yes, but just imagine if I was. So you can go back and rewind it. Objectives. Know the 8 basic components of medical practice management software applications and their functions. Know the advantages and disadvantages of computerization in medical office. Understand HIPAA. Being able to log on. Okay, we can omit that one because you won't be able to log on until I get there. Alright, so the important terms, and there's some corrections that you need to make. The appointment scheduling system, patient registration system, insurance billing system. CPT, it should just be CPT. You can take the 4 off. There is no CPT 4. ICD-10, fee schedule, Clearinghouse, which you already know about, and HIPAA has been beaten with a dead horse. Or like a dead horse. You know what I'm talking about. File maintenance system, procedure posting, payment posting system, super bills, which I've expressed to you before, but I'll show you again, managed care, and dunning message. Now, dunning message, I can tell you this is going to be on your certification exam. This comes up, if not every year, every other year, but my students come out every year. Miss, that dunning message was on the exam. So if you don't understand what a dunning message is, please let me know and I will clarify it for you. Advantages of computers in the medical office today. Modern healthcare offices are more dependent on computers than ever due to many changes in healthcare industry, including many managed care plans, meaning your insurance plans, because we have Medicare, Medicaid, we have HMO, PPO, we have Advantage plans, government plans. So those are all different types of insurance, but they're managed care plans, and depending on what the patient has is basically what they're allowed to, the doctor is allowed to charge, or what they're allowed to get reimbursed. Reimbursement methods, you'll either get paid, the office, not you, but the office will either receive checks from the insurance company as reimbursement, or they will receive electronic transfer to their checking account. Most physicians or doctors' offices like to see a check because then they can see their money. I know that sounds weird, but you know, we see money, we get a check in the mail. Ooh, I'm rich. That's how doctors do, because I do it. I get a check in the mail. Ooh, I'm rich. It could be for $12 and I'm happy. Varying rules for authorizing procedures and referral process. And we'll talk a little bit about that in the next slide. Healthcare documentation procedures and source documents can be generated, sorted, and accessed when required. So if you need to print out a demographic sheet with their name, address, phone number, those information, that can be generated from the computer. If you need to sort how many people had a certain procedure in a month or day or week, that's sorted. So if somebody came in and had steroid injections, and steroid injections is a form of medication that helps with inflammation around a certain area. So let's say you're an orthopedic surgeon and you do steroid injections to the lower back, and it's a very common procedure, but you want to know how many you've done this month. Well, the computer can sort that for you from the different procedures, from how many patients you saw, was it male or female, was it an afternoon morning procedure. The computer can do all of that for you. And access when required, meaning that you can get to that information as needed. I'm sorry for my sniffles. Source documents. It's generated from computer software. It entails patient care, diagnosis, and procedure regarding patient care. These are encounter forms, visit fee slips, charge ticket. Super bill is most common, and I posted this before in a previous video that this is a super bill. So you're going to have the patient's name, their information, and every office varies because my super bill doesn't look like this. And more than likely when I come back, we're going to go over this again because I need you to understand it, for the simple fact that when you go into an office, you need to understand what a super bill is. You need to know what an encounter form is. You need to know what these forms look like. And yes, they all do look different, but the general idea is the same. So on this one, I know it's a little, but at the top here you have all of the pertinent information such as the demographics. You'd have a diagnosis, and we no longer use ICD-9, so if you see that on any documentation, it's always ICD-10. ICD-9 is dead. No one uses that ever in life again. However, CPT codes, current procedure terminology, you can't forget what that means. These will never go away. These are updated every year, October 1st, and they may change just a little bit, or they might be deleted out of the book. But CPT codes are not going anywhere. Alright, so when going through the exercise in the text, which we don't have, but I can go through this flow chart to show you exactly how it is. Because you're going to have a in and out process. In and out process. So here, we've already done this. We've already done this part with filling out the patient demographics, the insurance information from the chart that you did, from the packet that you did. So this is a little bit more detailed. So here you have the scheduling. So the patient is going to call. Actually, we did do that because that's a part of your notes where the patient is going to call, schedule, give you their information. You are going to get the patient's demographics, the insurance information, and then on your end, patient authorization, you would have to call the insurance company to see exactly what procedures are allowed and if the patient has to pay out of pocket. And then here, this is the outgoing process. Does the patient need to be referred out? Are they coming back? So they're going to have any follow-up appointments and any coordination of services. Do they need excuse me, any diagnostic testing such as an x-ray or MRI? Can you do the diagnostic testing in your office? In my office, we can perform the x-rays, we can draw blood, but we cannot perform an MRI. So that would be a coordination of service where we refer the patient out to get a procedure done. Here, you have clinical care. And I skipped over this one because this is where they're coming from. So they're either going to be there's either inpatient, outpatient, admissions, referral. So this is the patient when they first come in and they come to the reception. This ingoing process then goes out. Here you have pharmacy. So they're getting something filled or they're getting something assessed. So here at your clinical care, so the patient has followed up and they come back. You have to do a patient assessment or an exam, any type of procedures, diagnoses, and treatment plans. So if you're going to treat the patient that day, you're going to tell them what they have and what you're going to do to help them get rid of it or how to fix it. Referrals, follow-up, and appointments. Because what happens is, after the patient has gone through so many treatments and let's say they're not getting better, you have to come up with a backup plan. So when they follow up with you, you have to tell them what you're going to do next. So in my office, we see patients 3 times a week for 4 weeks. That's 12 visits. After 12 visits, if they're not getting any better, then we need to go ahead and refer them out for something else, or we need to figure out what's going on. At the time of this, the physical assessment or the exam is determined if they need prescriptions. I'm a chiropractor, so obviously I can't prescribe any medication, but we do have an MD on staff, that she comes in once a week, she examines all the patients, and she makes a determination if they need medication or not. Orders for tests, same thing, labs, MRIs, and patient medical history. Patient medical history, I disagree that it's this far down. It should be a part of the patient assessment in the exam, because when the doctor is doing the exam, they're going to take a medical history on this patient to get a good idea, a good physical look as to what is going on with this patient. And then this is the comeback, the test results, the schedule, and the tickler file, patient medical history, medication administration, patient education, and graphical patient data displays. So all of these things here, I'm pointing at the screen like you can see me, but the come back around is when they come back. So you're going to give them their test results, you're going to give them a schedule. Okay, this is what we need you to do, how to come back. The patient medical history is then, once the patient is established in your office and they continue to come in, they are going to have what's called a patient medical history. They're going to have, every day they come in, a note or a progress note in their folder. That's history. And that's going to be ongoing with the patient as long as they're at your facility. Medication administration, you're going to educate the patient on what they can and cannot do with the medication. Patient education is about their condition, what they need to do on their own to help facilitate you, to help them. You can't just send a patient out in the world and say, oh, you have plantar fasciitis. Well, plantar fasciitis is the tightening of the fascia at the bottom of the foot, and it can become very painful, and it's very painful for women, especially because we like to wear heels, and our feet are not designed to wear heels. So you have to go through and explain that to the patient and say, okay, ma'am, I understand that you like your Louis boots, and don't laugh, but your feet are not equipped to handle the weight. And these people might not even be big, but your feet are not designed to wear heels, and that's a part of patient education. And graphical patient data displays, brochures, posters, anything that will reiterate what you're talking about to the patient, to assist them to understand their condition. Laboratory, so you have results from the outside providers, test reports, quality assurance and controls. Quality assurance and controls, what is that? It should be CLA, which you've already gone over, and safety standards. Orders for the test, safety standards. So as you can see, it's an in and out process, a round and round circle. And then when we come down here to billing and coding, which is what you'll do, not to say that you won't know anything up here, because you do have to know this process, because if any of these steps are skipped, well, you can't do your job. So your insurance data, procedures, tests performed, diagnosis and procedure codes, and generations of claim form, this is going to happen all throughout this process before it gets to you. And then you send it out. You'll send it out to get processed. The clearinghouse is going to check it, and it'll come back to you paid. And that's when you have your billing status reports. So this is what your quiz was about. 8 basic components of practice managed software. And these are the components throughout the text that you need to understand. Your appointment scheduling. It's what it says. Appointment scheduling. You're making appointments for a patient, whether it's a follow-up, they're coming back, or their initial patient, first time there, and you're scheduling to come in. Patient registration. The patient is coming in, letting you know, hey, it's me. My name is Andrea Smith. I'm here for a 2 o'clock appointment. That's patient registration. File maintenance is gathering all of the pertinent information such as demographics, insurance information, contact information. And file maintenance will also be once they have been established as a patient, what procedures they've had performed, what testing they're going to have done, and what their diagnosis is. Procedure posting is CPT. Procedure posting is nothing but CPT, current procedural terminology. Those are all of your procedures. An exam, a shot, a surgery, those are all procedures. So anything that's done in the office, done at the hospital level, anything performed on someone is a procedure. And yes, you will post it, but I'll show you. Insurance billing is what I stated in the previous slide, is that once a procedure is done, you have to bill on it. You have to charge them. It's not free. Just if you didn't know, it's gonna rain on y'all head. Cause my allergies are killing me this morning. Anywho, posting payments. Posting payments goes both ways. So the patient will come in, they may have a copay or a coinsurance. The copay is a set amount that the patient is going to pay. So they might pay $20, $30, some are even as high as $70. Coinsurance is 20% of the procedure that was done. Everybody would rather have a copay instead of a coinsurance. Patient billing is once the insurance company has paid the facility or doctor. If there's a balance, then you will need to send the patient a bill. And then report generation. Every afternoon after all of our patients, we have a report, and it runs to see, for one, how much we billed out for the day, and then two, what are our appointments looking like tomorrow, or this week, or next week. You can generate a report basically on anything. Each piece integrates with other parts to ensure continuity and healthcare logistics are managed. They all intertwine. If you go back to that flow chart, they all intertwine. If one piece is missing, then somebody isn't going to be able to move on. So appointment scheduling. It handles most tasks associated with patient visits. It may include scheduling clinical support services such as hospital rounds by a doctor. So my primary care physician, my PCP, he has alternating days for his hours. So on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, he does his hospital rounds in the morning, and he sees patients in the afternoon. On Tuesday, Thursday, he does patients in the morning and hospital rounds in the afternoon. So he flips it, and here on this schedule, his office, it says meeting. Well, his office staff knows that means hospital rounds for him. And then they can start putting in patients. And you can see too, if you have multiple healthcare providers, Heath and Swartz, that you can schedule them however they see fit. And yes, please don't ever forget to give your provider a lunch, because that's the worst thing that you can have is a cranky doctor. Because my patients will wait. If I have not had lunch, I'm going to eat. Just that simple. You may be responsible for assigning, well, not maybe, you are responsible for assigning appointments. Like these patients are assigned here. And sometimes, appointments can't last this long. So she's going to be here from 9:30 to 10, so that means she has a 30-minute slot. This patient here is from 10:30 to 10:45. This patient has a 15-minute slot. So depending on the nature of the appointment or their condition determines how long you may be with the patient. New patients are generally an hour. So I can tell you that right now. This one right here, Joel is going to be there for an hour. I bet you he's a new patient. This one is probably a follow-up. This one is probably something just, kind of minor. I just need to be checked up. 15 minutes, I'm out the door. But back to what I was saying is that you are responsible for assigning, canceling, and rescheduling appointment times, creating reference sheets. So in our office during the day, so in my office we have reference sheets. And so every day, Miss Ruthie, the receptionist, she makes a copy of the calendar in which we have all the appointments. And so we'll know, everybody will be on the same page on how many patients we have, at what given time, what time are we busy, what time are we slow, who canceled, who rescheduled. And so you will be responsible for making a reference chart for everybody, even yourself, just to make sure that you stay on track as well. This helps too to stop patient overbooking, because you don't want to have your doctor have 5 patients in an hour when you know that you might have a new patient come in for an hour, and you have 4 other patients come in behind that for a procedure or some type of therapy, and that's just going to cause chaos for everybody, because then that's how you get backed up, or what we call in the weeds. Here's another type of appointment scheduling block or example. Here you have 3 doctors: Heath, Swartz, Mendendahl, and they have their lunch blocked off for an hour, administrative, volunteer work, no patients. So every interface is different. Just like you saw on the previous slide, that one had meeting. Maybe that's all that they're able to input, but this one gives them a little bit more flexibility, and you'll know what's going on. But it's important to communicate to your office staff what certain things mean. Administrative, lunch is obvious. Volunteer work, where are they located? No patients. They might be out of the office. That you know, if a patient calls and says, "Well, I want to see Dr. Heath." Well, I'm sorry, he's out of the office. He's not seeing patients at this time, but we can schedule you at 9:30, or we can take you for another day. Tracking patient utilization of clinic may be performed, and it depends on the program software. And all that means is, just like I said, that you're going to have a reference sheet. The utilization is how well are you utilizing your time. Are you having too many patients at one time of the day? Do you have a spurt at lunchtime? Do you have an evening rush? Just to see how you're scheduling your patients. It is important to learn the fundamentals of an appointment system, especially if it applies to specific specialties and needs of a medical office. For us in chiropractic, we see patients. Our office is open from 9 to 1, and then we close from 1 to 3 and open back up from 3 to 6. Well, that's typical of a chiropractic office. Do I like those hours? Absolutely not. So I can't do anything about it. I don't own it, but one day I will, and I will change that, because I promise we're the only profession that just has office hours all over the place. If you call the doctor today and say, "I would like to come in," they'll tell you, "No, we don't have any availability. Can you come in tomorrow, or can you come in next week?" And that's how it should be across the board. But not all professions work that way. Patient registration allows entry of patient information taken from the patient information data sheet, which is what you filled out in your chart, and it's mostly filled out on the patient's first visit to the office. Well, on your screen, you'll have something similar to this, and you're going to enter the information that they give you. It's going to automatically capture the information, such as the demographics, the insurance, the guarantor information. The guarantor information, for those of you who may not know this, because you don't have insurance under your name, is the person who's responsible for it. So the guarantor in my case is my husband. I'm on his insurance, so he is the guarantor to make sure that the bill is paid. I am the guarantor for the vision and the dental. So if there's a bill that comes for any of us in this house, it's my responsibility to make sure that it's paid. And HIPAA information. This can be updated as patient accumulates a history with the provider, because every year insurance companies, they decide sometimes they want to change stuff. People change jobs, people move, so those things need to be updated as it changes or yearly. File maintenance. File maintenance is specific to practice operations. It can be modified to suit the purpose of the practice for which it provides. Each file relies on others for arrangement and detail. Your software will work in the same fashion. It contains common information used by various systems within the software. And so just like I told you in that flow chart, that everything follows for a reason, or if something is missing, somebody can't do their job, it's the same thing with file maintenance. If one component is not completed, then the file is incomplete. So here we go. For example, insurance carrier and fee schedule information is entered. So this can be utilized across every department. So especially in the hospital, this is important. So for me, when I had my daughter, I was on the delivery floor, and then I was transferred to recovery. Well, when I was transferred from there, they can access my information, because then they have to bill me for everything that they do. They bill me for the anesthesia, that I had because I had a C-section. Well, they did that on the delivery floor. When I moved to recovery, they had to bill me for the medication that they came and brought me for after surgery. They gave me morphine, they gave me Tylenol, they gave me whatever. They billed for the doctor services to come in and see me, to see my daughter. All of these things are important because, again, if this is not filled out when I check in, then other departments can't do their job. They wouldn't be able to bill accordingly because they don't have this information. And as I stated before, it's used in many areas: for patient registration, for insurance billing, for posting payments, for claims tracking. Claims tracking is once the bills have been sent off to the insurance company, then you're able to track them to see how long it's going to take for you to get paid. Fee schedule. Fee schedule is a price list of services provided within or contracted with the practice to provide. Or you have the price or fee for each CPT code. So right here, this 99201, this is an exam code. This is an initial exam code. And this is the PCP. This is the copayment. This is a let me get my thoughts together. So you have your PCP, your primary care physician copay is $20. You have a specialty copay is $30. The visit itself is $115.05. So let's say, I'm gonna say this. Let's say the doctor charges you $120 for your visit for that 99201. The insurance company is only going to pay the doctor $115.05, which leaves you, the patient, with a balance of $4.95. That's what you would owe. But because you've paid that $20, we're going to say, no, that's not right. That's definitely not right. $20 minus, you wouldn't owe anything. I don't know why I did that. You wouldn't owe anything because you paid the $20 copay. I hope I didn't confuse anybody. Come on. Come on. There we go. Okay. So computer technology and networking is becoming more practical in all areas of doctors' offices, hospitals, pharmacies, diagnostic centers, where interchange of patient data and other information can be centrally accessed. Procedure posting. When a patient receives services, fees must be applied to the patient's account, whether in an office, a hospital, a nursing home, or other facility. In procedure posting system, fees for services apply based on the fee schedule and the file maintenance. Other information relevant to patient-physician encounter also includes dates of service, DOS, place of service, POS. So was it in an office? Was it in an outpatient facility? Was it at a home? You have doctors that make home visits. And in your CPT book, I'll show you where all of the place of services are, because you'll have to understand that for claims. And I'm saving claims for when I get back. CPT, remember, it's just CPT, no CPT-4 codes, and those are your procedure codes. Must have appropriate ICD-10. ICD-9 is dead, so this is a typo. To support the procedure performed. And I explained this before when you did your documentation or your demographics, that you have to have a procedure match the diagnosis. You can't have a male with a positive pregnancy test. That doesn't match. So again, the procedure has to match the diagnosis. Can't have pregnant man. Just can't. Now we can go into the stuff about how you can, but we'll save that for a debate on a later date. So example of typical form filled out by the provider during a patient visit. So this is going to be turned into the front desk upon the patient checking out, and it shows here what they've had done. So the doctor or the therapist or whoever did this is going to circle what was done. And I always use these because these are your E&M codes, your evaluation and management codes, so your doctor visit codes, and 99201. And yes, I do know them by heart, but I've been doing this for a long time, practicing and teaching it, so you get kind of good at knowing your codes. So no, you don't have to memorize them, but once you work in this arena, you will start to memorize them. But these are all of your, like I said, your exam codes. And they have the time frames on them, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and 60 minutes. And we'll get into that more at a later date. But my whole point to say all of that is that when the doctor or whoever sees the patient, they're going to circle what was done. The patient will turn it in the front desk. The front desk will then turn it into billing, and you will then process it. Managed care. Advent of managed care and various types of models and plans available have contributed much towards changing how procedures and payments are accounted for. So again, I did explain all of that prior to with Medicare, Medicaid, PPO, HMO, government plans, things like that. It's a broad term, and it describes organizations that combine delivery for healthcare and reimbursement for services to control costs and manage access to healthcare. Insurance billing is designed to prepare claims to be sent to the insurance companies to receive payment for services rendered by medical providers. Billing system gathers patient information, place of service codes, CPT, No4, and ICD-10 codes, and uses appropriate fee schedule to produce claims. Claims can be submitted electronically or by mail. Electronic ones are sent to the insurance company via Clearinghouse, which you already know this. The form that is used is a CMS 1500, and it used to be called a HCFA, HCFA. A lot of times in class you'll hear me call it a HCFA because that's how I learned it. But when you go on a current job site and they ask you what form do you use to process a claim, it is a CMS 1500. But if you go to a job and you say a HCFA, it's not wrong, but you might be dealing with somebody that's younger and they've never heard of a HCFA. But the proper and current is CMS 1500. This information will populate into the form, especially if it's electronic, and I will show you this again when I get back. Insurance Clearinghouse is the service that facilitates movement of electronic claims from medical office to insurance companies and all claims must be error-free. Remember, Clearinghouse is a checkpoint. It's checking to see about your errors to make sure that everything matches. If it does not, it will kick it back to the office. And sometimes they're nice enough to tell you where the mistake is, and sometimes they're not. So do it right the first time and you won't have any rejected claims. Posting payments. Automatic manual method of peg boarding. It records payments as received. So if your office receives electronic payments, it's going to post to the patient's account automatically. It applies to the appropriate patient account, and it's going to show you how much money has been received or collected based on that particular claim. It allows adjustments that reflect contract agreements. So way back a couple of slides ago when I showed you how the patient, the doctor can charge $120, but the insurance company is only going to pay $115.05. Well, that's the contract that's set up with the doctor. So they can charge what they want, but the insurance company is going to say, hey, yo, we signed this contract and you said that we can only pay you $115, and you signed the contract, that's what they're going to pay you, or the doctor. Credits, refunds, discounts, bad debt, corrections to erroneous entries, and other accounting situations will all reflect in the posting payment section. Once a payment from the primary insurance company is received and appropriate adjustments posted, the software can generate a claim to the secondary insurance. Secondary insurance, you don't have to have it. It's optional, but I recommend it because we have it. What happens is you pay a nominal fee, which is really cheap, out of your check, and you have a secondary coverage. So for me, we have one, my husband has one, I have one too with my job, and I talked about this in the types of insurance, but the secondary insurance is going to pick up what your primary does not. So if you have a $500 bill that your insurance company did not pick up, that's your balance, well, you can send it to the secondary and they'll pick it up. Pay it off. Good deal. Patient billing provides the patients with an ongoing picture of financial standing of their accounts and status of insurance billing activity. Now, some offices will send you a bill and it'll say zero balance. I think that's just a waste of paper. If I don't have a balance, don't send me a bill. I mean, send me a bill if I have a bill. I don't like getting stuff like that. But some offices do it. I know my husband's dentist office, they do it all the time. You don't have a balance, we just want to let you know. Okay, thanks. So here you go. It uses all previous information and generates a statement or a bill. So Miss Megan Caldwell, she had a 99213, that is a re-exam. The total charges was $111. She did not have a copay. The insurance company only paid $88.80. They had to adjust it for $2.20 because the $88.80 is the agreed upon contract. So they had to write off $2.20 to make it what it owes. Because if they have a contract, you can't charge over that. Since they paid the $88, it's a $2.20 difference, they write that off. They can still go back and get the $20. So she has a $20 balance. A dunning message. It's a short collection note that can appear on a patient's bill. It's the exact amount due, overdue. An office policy dictates how this should be used. Now, at the bottom of a billing statement, it's usually a small statement, italicized, saying that your bill is overdue, and that's a dunning message. Most billing systems include this feature. The exact wording, you can set it up in your file maintenance area and say what you want it to say. Report generation. It retrieves and organizes data from various parts of practice management software into useful information. And I told you can do a report from anything. Reports can be as simple as a list of diagnostic codes as to complex analytical reports reflecting the practice's financial statistics. So you can run a report on anything. But report generation is basically anything that you want to see status on. Advantages of computers in the medical office is that it's efficient work, it's easily accessible, and the speed and cost reduction over a long period of time is absolutely phenomenal. However, using computers, as you know, there are system failures and problems. A lot of our data is internet based, so if the power goes down, we can't access anything. If the server crashes, well, we've lost all of our information. In regards to servers, it's best that you back it up, take it home, or somebody be responsible for that, because once it's lost, it's lost. And then patient confidentiality is it's not hard to maintain, but it can be questioned at times, because you have to know who is working with people's information. HIPAA, you should know this, we beat it to death. Since 1996, healthcare providers are required to protect patient health information. Every entity must comply, including medical practices that transmit or store electronic data and records. I'm not going through these three components because you already should know this. And I'll stop here. So I really hope that this helped. What I want you to do after this video is to redo the worksheet and see if you have a better understanding of the terms since I've done the video. And if you don't have a better understanding after I've done this video, then we need to revisit it again, because you're going to see it again, and I need to know that everybody understands, because these terms are not going away. Alright, so I'll see y'all soon, and if I have to do another video, well, y'all hear my house background noise, sneezing, sniffing, children running, but hey, it's all in a day's work. Y'all be blessed. Talk to you later.